Hangout is on air live. That took me by surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen quite so quickly. Let me see what's happening. Got to get my chat thing up. Okay, hey, Noble Wolf from Biori, how's it going? Just popping out the chat. All right, got my chat popped out, so I can go back to the bloody live window and get it all together. Well, there we go. And hiya, oh, look at everyone dropping in. Hiya, Natalie and Chris and Dottie and Celtic King and Floss. Oh, wow, the gang's all here. Look at everyone just piling on in. There's a quick start. I've clearly got to remember to do a little advanced warning thing. And hey there, Tendai. Oh, cool, Biori drawing. Nice, nice. You're doing the Inktober thing or just drawing generally? I notice a lot of people doing that thing, trying to challenge themselves to do a drawing every day in October. It's good. Artificial challenges can be good. And of course, we're coming up on one of the big ones in November. I can't even remember the acronym. National Writer Short Story, NaNoWriMo, or whatever it is called. I'm sure someone knows it. I'll try and Google searches. NaNoWriMo. It is just NaNoWriMo. I thought it was more syllables than that. National Novel Writing Month. Okay. Yes, NaNoWriMo. Not that I'm saying, you have to go and write a novel next month. It's just something some people do. Hey, Aussie Gun Bunny, how's it going? Biori, you're not even doing Halloween drawing, just drawings. Cool. I tend I'm with you. The Bethesda's marketing for Wolfenstein is hilarious, because I'm sure when they first started, it's like, okay, new Wolfenstein game. Let's kill some Nazis. Hello there, Nicholas. Natalie, you've done what? You've done NaNoWriMo 5 times? That's impressive. I like that. And hey there, Toby. Aussie Gun Bunny. It's been a bit dry in Townsville, has it? Yeah. I thought you got a bit more rain in the tropical north. I don't think I've ever got that far north in Queensland. Furthest north I've gone is in Australia, is Darwin. Of course, in the middle, not on the east coast. Nickname Brownsville for Townsville. Okay, the dry town. Natalie. Okay, you've been a bit hard on yourself, saying your writing sucks. But look, just doing it. It's a skill like any other. Practice improves. You writing stuff that you think sucks is better than someone who thinks they've got great ideas and don't write anything. Toby, I got a message just today that I had some mail, but I didn't get a chance to go to the mailbox. So I might have it, if I do a live stream on Thursday, I might have it for then. I keep hoping Aidsy's going to come back over for a live stream. He's, a few trials and travails in his life. So he hasn't been able to make it back over since the first time that he did a couple of weeks ago. But I am hoping that he will be back soon. But yeah, we're talking about the Bethesda Wolfenstein advertising. I feel like when they started advertising the new Colossus, they were just going, hey, let's shoot some Nazis. And they came up with, okay, let's do a twist. We've done all these different Nazi sci-fi things, different things. Let's do an alternate history one where the Nazis invade the US. They're not first people. I don't think it's even the first time a Wolfenstein story's done that. But It's you know, they just said, oh, let's have Nazis in America and have our American hero BJ Blazkowicz killing them. And we just live in a really fucking strange time where fucking idiots get their back up and say, Nazis? That's just prejudice against white people. Well, Nicholas, if you had a game where a communist dictatorship invaded another country, as happened many times, it would be perfectly straightforward to have a game shooting communists. But yeah, I think, you know, Bethesda got surprised when people started saying, "Oh, I think this anti-Nazi thing is bad," and they went a bit further. They did a little teaser thing of, you know, "Not my America, get you know, Nazis out" type thing, and all these fucking idiots go, "Oh, why to make a game political?" And instead of being pushed back at all, Bethesda doubled down. They did a little teaser this week that said something like, if you're a Nazi, get the fuck out. And then they had one of their sort of weird, sort of alien robot-y looking Nazis getting punched. And what I loved is that's a dig on that Richard Spencer cockhead getting punched when he was at a rally. And so with Wolfenstein, they've just doubled down. They go, oh, these fucking mutant pieces of shit who wouldn't know hardship if it jumped up and kicked them in the teeth are going to act like neo-Nazi white people are oppressed. We'll fucking show them. So yeah, I hardly ever buy computer games, but I reckon I'm getting Wolfenstein: The New Colossus just for the fucking catharsis of killing the Nazis. But yeah, basically there's there probably isn't a group who haven't been, like in a shoot 'em up game, who haven't been the target of being shot up. Hey, Catherine. Oh, we just really started. We're talking about Inktober, NaNoWriMo, and now we're talking about Wolfenstein: The New Colossus and how the Bethesda advertising is hilarious and they're taking the piss out of the Nazis. Well, I like that use of emojis, Natalie. Very nice. Pseudo Legend, you bought it with the action figure. Yeah, I mean, I just the advertising. When I saw the little teaser one this weekend, it's really sure it was on Twitter, and it was just like, if you're a Nazi, and then punching one in the face, get the fuck out. And I still say, I hope there's a side mission somewhere where there is a fucking Nazi who looks like Richard Spencer giving a speech, and you get extra points for just running up and punching him in the face. I mean, sure, there's the catharsis of blowing their heads off and setting them on fire and all that sort of stuff. But yes, the real world allegory of punching them in the face, pretty hard to resist. Oh my God. But I mean, seriously, what fucking time do we live in? What fucking time do we live in that neo-Nazis act as if they're being oppressed, when neo-Nazis aren't just having their fucking heads kicked in? You know, when the President of the United States is fucking actively and openly supporting white supremacists and not even pretending that he's not deliberately inflaming racism. I mean, holy fucking shit. Who could have predicted this? My God. You think everyone should send me religion? You know, any sort of packages in the mail are interesting. Rose from the headbutting capital of Australia, which I assume is Tasmania. Is he? Um, oh yeah, Natalie, wasn't that good news this week? The super volcano that I've been aware of for quite a while, but yeah, with some of the scientists saying, "Oh no, we're even more worried about the Yellowstone super volcano than we were before. It has the potential to wipe out the majority of life on Earth." So that's a cheery thought. Anyway. Oh, Aussie Gun Bunny, Eminem's freestyle on Trump. That was really interesting because that was quite old school for him. And the way I'm with him, well, the way he came down and said to people, "You can't be friends of Trump and me. You can't be a fan of Trump and a fan of mine. It's not, fuck off. If that's where you are, fuck off. I don't want anything to do with you." Either a Patman Sport, if I didn't already say hello. Oh yeah, Dottie, Nazis marching and the Blues Brothers running them off the bridge. Hate Illinois Nazis. Philosopher, that's a cheery thought that 2020s will be the worst. Yes. Sorry, pseudo legend. I did not see that story. Apparently, saying there was an article, an American was held by ISIS, and they told him Trump was president. He thought it was a joke, and then he escaped, and was like, "What the fuck? How's that?" I agree, Catherine. The idea of Nazis being anything but scum that needs to be wiped out is it's ridiculous. I mean, Nazis are the enemy of humanity, and it's just it. And so sure, Bury, the Australian space program, asked, "That was a joke. That was not the real name. Someone just came up with um, Australian Research Space Enterprise or something." It's obviously not going to be the real name. It was a nice logo they did. I did see the logo. It was a nicely done logo. But it was but a joke. Yes. Whereas Wolfenstein is a game. It's a series of games. It goes back 25 years. And it's always been about fighting Nazis. And now that's apparently controversial. But yes, I'm not completely averse to the Australian Space Agency being called arse, but yeah, it was a joke. Yeah, you're going to give my myth gesture. Yeah, there we go. It's very weird looking at myself as I do this. Johnny Big. Oh, you sad, sad, sad little boy. Oh, Rose, that was an interesting story. Lisa Wilkinson, for those who don't know, a fairly high rating morning TV show in Australia. The female host just quit because when she was going to go up for a contract renewal, she wanted pay closer to her male co-host, who was getting basically twice as much as her, and the channel wouldn't go along with it. So she went fuck yous and left. Just as a fairly outrageous wage gap. I mean, no, it's not like she's impoverished. Like her pay packet's reputed to be around 1 million a year, but her male co-host's pay packet was reputed to be around 2 million a year. And when they wouldn't bring them closer together, she resigned, and she's already got another job. She was on Channel 9. She's already got another job on Channel. Probably doesn't pay as much, but they give her more stuff to do. Hey, Timothy Hatton, how's it going? Oh, okay. Now there's the joke. Abbott thinking he's going to be PM again. That's the weirdest. Like for a while, Abbott was so fucking pissed off about getting knocked off by Turnbull. He clearly wanted his job back, and I got the impression after about a year or so, he realized he was never getting his job back, and then it was just about revenge. Like he wanted to knock Turnbull off and someone else in charge. Like he accepted that he wouldn't ever get the leadership job back, but he just wanted to hurt Turnbull. Now there are reports in the last week that he seriously thinks he could be Prime Minister again, which is fucking hilarious because he's completely toxic. If he seriously thinks he could be leader of the Liberal Party again, he's more unbalanced than I thought he was. And I thought he was pretty goddamn unbalanced. But yeah, but he apparently he's a little bit on the side. She was on things. What are we doing? Christ, dude, you're so fucking boring. Hey, tell you what, Aussie got money with Abbott's exercise. Man, I wish I was as buff as him. Guy in his, what is it? How old is he? Like 60? Dude's buff as. Although I have to admit, some of his fans in the conservative media, like political cartoonists, like in the Murdoch rags, when Abbott was Prime Minister and they were his cheerleaders and they would do little cartoons of him in Speedos looking all buff. I was just looking at it like, dudes, get a room. For fuck's sake, just write little PM Abbott a nicely worded letter saying you want to get a job, because the homoerotic lust that went along with that was hilarious. Dottie saying that the original speed camera department in Victoria in the 70s, there was only a couple of guys and they named themselves the Photographic Investigations Service Section, and then the bosses saw they had an acronym that said piss on their doors and made them take it down. I could see someone trying to get away with that. But yes. The warm weather today was great, Timothy, as I made a special point of having a walk in the 29 degrees sunshine at lunchtime. It was great. Like walking around, it's almost too warm. Like last week, we couldn't crack 20 Celsius, and today we're hitting 30. That's Melbourne in springtime. Nothing consistent. But yeah. Oh, for those no, I deleted Johnny Big Dong Gun Bunny. He was just boring. I was just like, dude, like, you know, you got to be the tough guy and come in and get a rise out of me and upset me. So like, dude, you're just fucking boring. But for fans of bootings, I only naughty chaired him. I did him the 10 minutes timeout. We'll see if he's pathetic and losery enough to come back and do more in 10 minutes. I just thought it'd be fun if we do that. Pat-Man, it's just an odd thing. Oh, Tendai, I've been seeing all the photos of what the skies were like in the UK. This is the tail end of that storm. Well, it was a hurricane that hit Ireland and really heavy cloud went all over us. My mate Frankie the Skin sent me a picture of London looking like it's in the Fallout games or something. Saw all sorts of pictures from the UK. Really looked intense. So yeah, at least it was only clouds and not pollution. Okay, see, here's Aussie Gun Bunny egging me on like I should really go. The guy, oh, look, speaking of which, here's Frankie the Skin from the real life Fallout location. Oh, yeah, no, I don't have monetization set up on my channel at the moment, Frank. So, yeah. Yeah, it's yes, Bury. We got a brief taste of the apocalypse. But I mean, I've seen that sort of thing. I mean, because I grew up in the country, we would get dust storms. I remember one dust storm that came through when I was a teenager, and everything just went like it was almost dark as night. The dust was that thick. It's almost dark as night. All the street lights came on, and visibility was only about 20 meters. And I took some photos. Back in the day, it was a film camera, just a normal 35mm camera, and I took a couple photos. Storm coming, and what I didn't realise, because the area where I grew up, Dubbo in Western New South Wales, is famed for the red earth, the red dirt, and I took some photos in the middle of it. And when the photos got developed, it looked like I had a red filter on the camera because the air was just red. But when was my dust storm? 88. No, it wasn't. No. Just no, it definitely wasn't 88. It was probably early 80s, like somewhere between 1980, 1982. They happen every now and then out in the country. Oh, Catherine, the streetlights just have sensors. They had sensors on them, and when it gets dark a certain amount, the lights turned on. And the dust storm made it so dark, the lights came on because their sensors picked up that it was dark. Yeah, Sydney had dust storm in 09. Melbourne had one in the 90s, I think. Like a really big one rolled right up into the middle of the CBD of Melbourne. Oh, Johnny Big Dong. What we think is that you're boring, son. You're boring. You're a sad little boy who thinks he's a great big man, and you're a pathetic embarrassment. You're an utterly embarrassing, no-life fucking loser. You'll always be a loser. You'll always be an embarrassment. Anyone who ever meets you would know, I imagine, within 30 seconds what a worthless piece of shit you are. You just radiate being a colossal fucking loser. You don't make me angry. You're not important enough. You're just sad and pathetic and worthless, okay? So you only get angry about things that matter, like you think you're going to count for something, and you just don't, and you never will. You're an absolute nobody. You're a sad, pathetic, worthless little child who will never amount to anyone. And you know it. You know what a pathetic loser you are. You are an absolutely worthless, pathetic piece of shit, and you will never be anything to anyone. Nobody will ever think anything more than, who was that sad fucking loser? Pathetic little shit. Timothy, no, I'm not bothering with the Patreon at the moment. I have a day job. I don't need to set up a Patreon because I have a day job, and Patreon wouldn't get me enough money to quit my day job, so I went. Hey, Belinda, how are you? Sorry, I just had to give that guy buckets on. Jesus Christ. Sorry, guilty kid. I get depressed and horrified every time you tell me the latest twist in the Video Dude saga. VD got sent to another prison because some pedos wanted to stab him. They choked him out a couple of times, so they hurt him. Holy fucking crap. Jesus, I wish. Oh my God, why can't he get his shit together? Is he just like mentally unstable? Because that's how he came across in the letter, that he had really severe issues. I mean, like, yeah, he said some awful, gross things, and I thought, yeah, maybe a little bit of a slap around might be good for him. But yeah, so he got convicted of drug possession, and when the cops like frisked him, went around, he punched the cops. So he went to jail for drug possession and assaulting cops and resisting arrest. So yeah. Oh yes, Frank is the classic in that he's, you know, like an old school Tory, but doesn't like dickheads, and that's why we get on. Gun Bunny, VD, Video Dude, he was a guy who was in the channel when I first started doing live streams a couple months ago. And I humored him for a while because he was a bit of a loon, but he would go on with this religious stuff all the time, which I thought was kind of funny. And but then he basically wouldn't shut up. He was like flooding the chat, and I sort of put him in the naughty chair, and he got worse. And yeah, I basically said he needed to shut the fuck up or I would block him, and he wouldn't shut the fuck up. So I blocked him. And then he sent me this truly deranged letter, like massively deranged. It was 4 pages, single space, tiny, tiny, tiny font, like probably a couple thousand words, and it was insane. Yes, Natalie, we also call him VD because it stands for venereal disease, and it upset him. Calling him VD upset him. So that was another reason to do it. So, Timothy, I'm glad you got a laugh out of the rant. That is, of course, why I did it. Like, because sad little boy was sad little boy, and he was gonna go. But I wanted to provide everyone else with a bit of amusement in the meantime. Because, I mean, you know, sad little boy is probably so rancid and disease-ridden, he wouldn't even make good compost. Like, you could put him through a wood chipper, but I feel like he'd poison the earth. So, you know, you just have to seal him up in a toxic waste barrel and bury him in concrete. I think that's what should happen to him. So, yes, he got booted for just being boring. He was far too boring. Had to go. Yeah, Catherine, the 2 biggest regrets of VD going to jail. One is he's getting beaten up. Like, I think it's pretty obvious the guy has reasonably severe mental health issues, and getting beaten up in jail is not good. While, you know, if there's a temptation to laugh at him and whatnot, it's just bad. It's unpleasant. It's awful. And of course, the second downside of him going to jail is we don't get the letters anymore. I don't know if they won't let him have a crayon in jail. Celtic King, no, we never tried calling the number because before we got around to it, he went to jail. Who would, if we rang the number, who would answer it? Would someone in his family answer it? I don't know. Jeremy, what would AZ think of North Korea? I think he likes Kim Jong-un's haircut. But yeah, that's about it. Oh wow, Defensive Wounds is New Order going to be on Nintendo Switch? Yeah, I didn't realize it was going to be on the Switch. I'll have to get it for the Switch. Oh yeah, Joe. When I first got the letters from video, I was going, is this a troll? Is this a troll? If I take this seriously and say he's a sad fuck, is he going to then go, oh, you fell for it? But no, I think he actually was just that mental Aussie company. Do you think VD reminds you of Fat Aussie Bastard? Wow, you got to go, philosopher. Okay, see you. Oh, Tendai, I love going killing Nazis on the go. We've got to do it. And hey there, Evil Harp. Terrorbilly's in his 50s in his new game. Oh. Okay, Celtic King. I thought, yeah, his mum might have thrown out the phone when he was arrested. She wouldn't have any use for it, would she? Unless it was a good phone. I just don't picture VD with a good phone. Picture him with like one of those flip phones you get for $20 at Woolworths. Who would win in a hand-to-hand fight to the death, Kim Jong-un or Hitler? I think Hitler. Like, if you got them when they were the same age, I think Hitler. Kim Jong-un looks really unfit. I don't picture Kim Jong-un being very healthy or a good fighter. I also think Hitler was a lot more ruthless and sneaky than Kim Jong-un. So, Belinda, his haircut. There's the rumor that like all the men in North Korea were getting the same haircut as Dear Leader. That's weird. Yeah, Biori, maybe Kim Jong-un would sit on him, but he'd have to get him down first. Evil Hub, I think you are on a winner there. In the sequel to Team America, fight between Hitler and Kim Jong-un. That would be good. And you're right, Aussie Gun Bunny, Hitler was a soldier. He fought in World War One. And so I think you got Hitler and Kim Jong-un at the same age, Hitler would win handily. Ha, Catherine. If VD hadn't gone to jail and we could have done things like called up his phone and taunted him and stuff, then it might have counted as YouTube drama. I think that would be good. Oh, Frankie. Yes, Frank's got an animation coming with Kim Jong-un fucking a Stalin sex. So, you know, classy. I love it. Who would win in a fight between Trump and Kim Jong-un? Now, see, that one I think Kim Jong-un would win because Trump is really out of shape and 70-something. And I think Kim Jong-un could wear him out really quickly. But I'm personally, I'm in favour of seeing all these death matches basically because we all win. Hitler versus Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-un versus Trump. We all win, regardless of who's in. Hitler versus Kim in Series 3 of Preacher. Oh man, I've got to watch Preacher. In Australia, Preacher is only on subscription service Stan, and I just got my first subscription service. I got Netflix, and that was mainly to coincide with the release of the new Star Trek Discovery, because Mrs. Angry is a big Trekkie. They're actually watching it now. Oh, they said fuck on Star Trek, by the way. Ooh, wasn't that a turn up for the books? So I've got Netflix at least until Star Trek's over, and in the meantime, I'm trying to watch a whole bunch of stuff. And so I'm finding a bunch of stuff on Netflix I like and binging on it. Like I watched all 4 seasons of BoJack Horseman. I've just started watching F is for Family. I'm watching all the animated shows. Big Mouth's a really funny show if you've never seen it. Animated series about kids hitting puberty. It's really funny. I got to watch Stranger Things. What else is on there? There's a few things on Netflix I want to watch. But the only service in Australia that has Preacher legally is a different service called Stan. And I want to watch Preacher. Probably be worth getting it for a couple of months to watch Preacher. The other thing I want to watch is American Gods. And the only thing where you can legally watch that in Australia is Amazon Prime. So all these different fucking subscription services, you know, do them one by one, watch all the things they have that I want, and go on. So So yes, Defense for Wounds. I've got to watch Stranger Things to be ready for season 2. I love going. We're getting the best fights. See, Abbott versus Trump. In the abstract, Abbott would fuck Trump up really badly, but I think in the end, Abbott would just want to give Trump a wristy. Theresa May versus Julie Bishop. Fuck, no contest, Belinda. Julie Bishop, she would beat Theresa May just with her death stare. That would be all over. But also just physically, I think Julie Bishop would fuck up Theresa May really badly. Ooh, Mr. Robot. Okay, I watched season 1 of Mr. Robot and I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. I haven't watched season 2 yet. Now, of course, season 3 is coming out. Tendai, a lot of people recommend Narcos to me, so I might watch that at some point. And hey there, Megaleech, how you doing? Sorry, I like that, Nelly. Your sister has kids and uses your Netflix, so you get recommended stuff like The Wiggles. Oh, Belinda, I agree. Dexter and Breaking Bad were good series. I didn't watch the final series of Dexter. A lot of people hated it, but I'll watch it at some point. Catherine, does it take a couple of months to watch a series? Probably depends on the series. Like, it's taken me, I don't know, less than a month. Oh, probably a month to watch four seasons of BoJack Horseman. Can you hear background noise? Probably a fridge, Patman Sport. But yes, Tendai, Theresa May is not strong or stable. Celtic King, Aidsy is having a few traumas in his life. Hopefully we'll see him again soon. I have been talking to him, so he's basically okay, but he's got some shit going on. Viola seems well. I hope she comes around again for another live stream or video. You know, been staying in contact with Viola via the social media. She seems well. I agree, Belinda. The opening credits of Dexter were very good. They were very, very clever. All those visuals that kind of suggested him killing people, but it was just shaving and tying up his shoelaces and cooking some eggs with tomato sauce. They were very clever, the opening credits. Oh, cool, Frank. Okay, I'll work on. I'll try and find when Amy has some spare time, and I'll record the lines. Okay. Hey Nathan, how's it going? But yes, I know you sent me the script, and I'll have to find it again because I saved it somewhere. But I'll try and get Amy together as well, and we'll record and send you off the recordings. Those that don't know, Frank does animations and doing them for Halloween. MJ, that's what everyone says. The ending was dumb. No one likes the ending of Dexter. Whereas the end of Breaking Bad was good. Another season I liked that finished a couple of years ago was called Justified, about it was like a marshal in the South in the US, and it's very complicated, and all the characters were really interesting. But Justified is really worth watching if you haven't seen it. I think it's about 5 seasons of it. Celtic King, do I like? Which is why I don't have anything against small people. I guess it depends on the context in which you are asking. What's his name in Justified? Raylan Givens. And his childhood, Raylan, who's a federal marshal, his dad is a career criminal, and his best friend growing up, his best friend's dad was also a career criminal, but his friend did become a criminal, whereas Raylan became a marshal. And they, best and worst TV series finales, Catherine. Well, everyone seems to say Dexter is shitty. I didn't see it, so I don't know. Things that I've seen that what else? I'm trying to think of things that had shitty series endings. I don't think anyone much liked Lost's ending, did they? Well, okay. King, now you've put it in a very specific context. If there were little people masturbating naked in my kitchen while eating coffee cake, not in favour of that. I don't like coffee cake. Okay, so not in favour of that. Oh, okay. I knew I lost the text file you sent me, but that was for AZ, not for me. Okay, cool. Okay, okay, defensive wounds getting out there. Angel was bad. Dexter was bad. Carnival lost. I watched a couple of episodes of Carnival. I certainly didn't watch it through. Didn't see the end. Didn't see. Yeah, Belinda, what's come out in the years since Lost was on? Because they kept doing all that really complicated stuff. The writers admitting, oh, they weren't going anywhere. It got to the stage where we were just making crazy shit up that we never had any intention of resolving, and that is a real cop out. Just doing weird shit for the sake of it, that is a real cop out. I'm not a fan of that. So, yeah, a lot of people thought the finale for Seinfeld was bad. I kind of thought it was okay. You know, they did a million callbacks, and the idea of going to jail because they're jerks was funny. My favorite stories about Seinfeld, though, is because the co-creator, Larry David, George Costanza, basically, the George Costanza character is basically Larry David. And I read some hilarious stories about Larry David used to try out George's worst lines. Like when they had an idea of George saying or doing something awful. Oh, you're running out of battery, Frank. Thanks for dropping by, mate. So when Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld had an idea for George doing or saying something awful, Larry David would actually try it out. He would say it to someone in public to see how they act, and that would help them decide whether or not to have George do it. Famously, the one I remember, there's one episode where George having lunch with someone. There's a married couple, and the woman sneezes, and after a couple of seconds, George says, "God bless you," and she says, "Thank you," and he goes, "Normally I wouldn't say anything, but I could tell he wasn't going to say anything." And then he ends up sleeping with this woman because her husband is uncaring, and George seemed more caring than that. And Larry David actually did that publicly. He was out in a restaurant with someone, and at the next table there's a couple, and the woman sneezed, and the guy didn't say anything, and he just leaned over and said, "God bless you," and said, "Often I wouldn't say anything." I could tell he wasn't going to say anything. Apparently the guy wanted to punch him. And so when he got such an intense reaction to it, he went, "Yes, George is doing that." So yeah. Hey, look, random trivia. I've got, of course, you know, we have people from all around the world come in on these live chats. I have friends from all around the world on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And one of my Twitter friends in the US, she just randomly went today, "Oh no, I'm out of Vegemite." Like she had a little supply of Vegemite. Can one of my Australians friends help me out? And she sort of hit me up. As I said, yeah, I'll get you some Vegemite. Gonna swap. She's gonna send me some American Halloween candy, and I'm gonna send her some Vegemite. But look what I got today, just at the supermarket. It's a special edition Vegemite. Ooh, blend 17. It's ultra Vegemite. So she's going to get a special Vegemite package. Absolutely, it's crafted for a richer Vegemite experience and a bolder finish. There you go. Defense was feeling silly. Hello, screenplayer. Deadwood literally didn't have an ending, from my understanding. That they thought they were going to get another season. I got that the new Vegemite in Coles just out of interest. Oh yeah, Twiglets taste like Vegemite. For those who don't know, Twiglets are a salty snack from England. They kind of look like black twisties. If you're an Australian, they look like black twisties, but they taste like Vegemite. They're pretty good. Oh yeah, Natalie, I think I sent iSnack 2.0 to another American friend. I didn't keep any, but yeah, I decided for this package, I got a regular Vegemite, a cheesy bite, and Blend 17. She's going to have a Vegemite smorgasbord in there. Look, the rumor keeps coming around that they are going to make some Deadwood movies to tie up the story, and I think the rumors have got to the point it's almost true that they are actually going to do Deadwood movies to round out the story, to finish off the story, which would be great if they did. Oh, defensive wounds. It's not the iSnack 2.0 they had. The no-name Vegemite I got for my American friend who wanna. So I of course I had a space for what should this be called. I called it AngryAussie, right, and sent it to him. Oh yeah, iSnack 2.0 was like the worst fucking name ever on a number. Cheesy Bite makes much more sense. Alexander, I didn't think the Vegemite chocolate was still around. Otherwise I probably would. Oh, Petman, should Game of Thrones do movies or miniseries for the prequels? Look, let's get real. If they make more Game of Thrones, like the prequels, at how Westeros came to be, they will do whatever makes them the most money. They will sit down and work out, okay, if we do a TV series, it'll cost us this much to make, and we can sell it for this much. If we make movies, it'll cost us this much to make them, and we reckon we'll make this much box office. They will literally do whatever will make them the most money. And that's not in and of itself a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. Oh dear. MJ Aussie, what do I think about Milo Yiannopoulos? Well, I think he's a piece of shit. And yeah, he's coming to Australia. I think, like, the whole idea of, you know, protesting him or blah, 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 it's what he wants. I'm not giving a piece of shit like that what he wants. I just live for the inevitable day when some alt-right neo-Nazis kick the shit out of him because he's gay, can't handle it. And I just love to say, well, what the fuck do you think was going to happen? Jesus Christ, you hang out with violent ultra-right neo-Nazis when you're gay, you get away with it for a while because you're the provocateur, getting them extra attention. But the day will come, you will just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and some of these neo-Nazis will kick the ever-loving fuck out of you, and you'll fucking deserve it, you piece of shit. Oh yes, Natalie, the explanation of iSnack. Yeah, Vegemite came up with this, you know, a different version of Vegemite, and I made a video at the time of why iSnack 2.0 was fucking moronic, and for two reasons. Even either half of the name would have been kind of stupid, but made some sort of sense. Like if it was just called iSnack, it was like, okay, that's kind of stupid, but whatever. And if you called it Vegemite 2.0, that would have been, okay, that's also kind of stupid, but okay. But saying iSnack, which is new, and 2.0, which is to be the second version of something, which was fucking stupid. Yeah, Joe, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to sound like an Apple product. They convinced themselves that iSnack 2.0 made them sound hip and internet and technology, and it made them look fucking stupid. Belinda, I did not see Hillary Clinton on Four Corners. I didn't know she was on Four Corners. Was the interview any good? Can we still get Vegemite ice cream in Melbourne? I don't know. The place where I got Vegemite ice cream was a gelato place in Carlton, the Italian food district in Melbourne, where all the really good Italian restaurants are, Lygon Street, Carlton. And this is a pretty good gelato place, and they occasionally do special flavors, and they did do Vegemite. And it basically just tasted like salted caramel. It wasn't bad, not something I'm going to go off too much. Okay, the Hillary Clinton interviews on Ivy. Was it any good? Like, what did she talk about? What was it like? Because I'm not a Clinton fan. I mean, obviously, immeasurably Trump, but I'm not a Clinton fan as such. Just because I just think she's a party hack. She's a cookie cutter establishment party hack. I don't really have a lot of time for. I would have preferred Bernie Sanders, quite honestly, as a contender against Trump, because that would have been really interesting. A populist on the left versus a populist on the right. Who would those easily swayed, narcissistic boys have voted for? I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, it's but man, some of the Bernie Trump fans were fucking idiots. It's kind of like how I like Rick and Morty, but some Rick and Morty fans are colossal fucking idiots. And I would have preferred Sanders over Clinton, but holy shit, some of the Bernie Sanders fans were fucking idiots, colossal fucking idiots. But oh yeah, the interview with Clinton was about having a go at Trump saying Russia win the election. Yes, to help with Julian and such. Oh man, isn't Julius shit? Like, he's just degenerated. He's he's just, you know, a really bad joke. And he's playing up to the worst fucking oligarchs in the world, sucking up to Putin and doing what Putin wants him to do. Jesus Christ. It's like, wow. And he's such a slimebag. And again, he's one of the people who has the audacity to pass judgment on this Harvey Weinstein shit that's happening in Hollywood, and saying, him having the nerve to say Hillary Clinton looks creepy. Like, dude, you're the creepy motherfucker who's hiding in a cupboard to avoid facing sexual assault charges, okay? You don't get to say other people are creepy or weird. You're super fucking creepy. And even like that whole Harvey Weinstein thing, the number of people who can't get that they should shut the fuck up. Like fucking Woody Allen, creepy stepdaughter fucking old man. Why the fuck did he pipe up and go, I feel bad, Harvey Weinstein. Hope this doesn't turn into a witch hunt. Dude, shut the fuck up, you fucking perv. For fuck's sake. I mean, he might not technically have broken any laws, but seriously, Woody Allen marrying his adoptive stepdaughter after she turned 18, and oh yeah, like, we're all meant to believe that you never fucking fiddled with her when she was really underage and she was in your care. Yeah, everyone believes that, Woody. Really? But why the fuck would you speak up for the guy who's a serial sexual abuser? Dude, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And Donald Trump Jr. keeps fucking mouthing off and going, oh, Clinton, Hollywood. Dude, your dad openly bragged of multiple sexual assaults. He openly bragged. It's not anyone had evidence. A whole line of women are lining up to charge him with rape. But he openly bragged of being a serial sexual abuser. What the fuck? And Fox News go, oh, Hollywood, the problem's good. Fox News, we're the head of the network and want Roger Ailes, and one of their biggest names, Bill O'Reilly, both had to go because of being serial sexual harassers and abusers. They both paid off millions of dollars in claims. In other words, they were literally exactly the same as Harvey Weinstein, and the people on Fox News think they can criticize the left and Hollywood. It's like, fucking look in your own backyard, motherfucker. And you're right, this foxification, it's an us and them thing. Truth and honesty and integrity doesn't count for shit. It's like, oh wait, I can score points against the other side, so I'm going to do it. And it's like, fuck off. Seriously. Oh, evil hard. I agree with you. Trump is damaging society as a whole. For Trump to be as vile and abominable as he is and get the ultimate reward is literally telling people there's nothing you can do wrong. Yeah, if you are an affluent white male, you can do literally whatever you want, and you not only won't get punished, you'll be rewarded. Hey, Aaron, we're doing the usual, ranging over a great many topics. Currently settling on sex abusers. Oh, Tendai, America going the way of Rome. You can't help but think this is the last days of the American Empire. Like, the decay is so extreme, and I don't believe America will ever recover from it. I think Trump is going to do severe and lasting damage to the US and the world, and I don't think America's going to recover because he's now set the bar so low, like you can do whatever you want and there are no repercussions. And look, okay, we say things like he needs a bullet in the head or he could be impeached, but this is the thing. Trump will be impeached at the point that Republicans decide to impeach him. And here's also the important thing that people have to remember. Impeachment in the American political system, judicial system, it's a political act, not a legal act. Bill Clinton was impeached and it had no fucking effect on him. It was that bullshit about, they got him on a technicality that he lied to a hearing where he's trying to pretend he wasn't having sexual relations with that woman. And because he lied about that, they got him on a technicality they could impeach him. But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Nixon, for instance, was never impeached. He resigned before he was impeached, and then Ford pardoned him. But people act as if impeachment is somehow magic. It's really just the Congress going, you're bad. And it doesn't have to mean anything. What's serious is the special prosecutor, Robert Mueller, looking at Trump and his cronies for criminal wrongdoing. That's a big thing, looking at people for criminal things. So, yeah, that could be spectacular. Oh, misfoxification, you're right. When you talk about things like Weinstein and other stuff with the cover-ups, imagine what else Hollywood covers up. It's, horrific shit all the time. Absolutely. God, not even Hollywood. The entertainment industry generally is awful, but industries all over are awful. I don't know women in any industry who haven't been sexually harassed at work, who haven't had a bad time at work. But God, do you want bad in the entertainment industry? Jimmy fucking Savile in the UK. That's like the worst of the worst. There's a guy who was a serial sex abuser for decades, and he was, touted as a hero and doing all these wonderful things for charity and blah, blah, blah. And he was sexually abusing people, adults and children, for decades. And not just getting away with it, but being actively protected. And here's the worst thing. Okay, I am not making this part up. It is a known thing that Jimmy Savile fucked dead bodies. He paid off people in hospitals where he was raising money through his charities for the hospital to be left alone in the morgue, and he would fuck dead bodies in the morgue. I'm not making that up. That is a known thing that Savile did. But if you want the outer limits of what Savile might have done, this is not proven. Jimmy Savile was very friendly with Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper. Okay, he did an interview with Sutcliffe after he was like arrested and convicted, where he was very forgiving of Sutcliffe, but he knew Sutcliffe before the Ripper murders. And here's the thing. It is possible Jimmy Savile was actually involved in the Ripper murders. He was, when some of the murders happened, when some of the women that were murdered by Peter Sutcliffe, Jimmy Savile was making public appearances that were close enough he could have actually been involved. Now, that's conjecture and hearsay, and I'm not aware of any conclusive evidence. But Savile did have a relationship with Sutcliffe, and he was known to fuck dead bodies, and it is possible he was actually involved in the Yorkshire Ripper murders. That's how bad it can get. And I think what I want is the ultimate example of how bad the system was. And this was notoriously the BBC, but it was also the government and the police who protected Jimmy Savile for decades, even though everyone knew what he was doing. After he died, when there was finally an expose, I don't remember, I think it was someone on the BBC, one of the current affairs programs, they did all the research, and they basically got all the evidence for how bad Savile was, and they put together this documentary to show, Jimmy Savile was a fucking monster. And when it was all set up to go to air, senior people at the BBC said, oh, we don't want to run that. We actually had a special celebrating the life and achievements of Jimmy Savile, and we can't really run that if you're going to run something that says what a monster he is. After he died, after they had irrefutable evidence of what an abominable fucking monster Jimmy Savile was, the people at the top of the BBC who protected him for years go, oh, we don't want to spoil the memory of Jimmy Savile. That is how fucking bad these systems of protection are. I mean, another one in England, Margaret Thatcher gave a Tory who was a known child sex offender, had been raping kids for decades, she gave him a knighthood. He was a nightmare. She gave him a knighthood. And her own secret police said, oh, no, we've got evidence on this guy that he's been doing bad shit for decades. And Thatcher's response was to give the motherfucker a knighthood. I mean, how fucking deep does this shit go? Oh, we all want Yellowstone supervolcano to cleanse the earth. I tell you what, just this afternoon, taking my daughter going to work, and I dropped her off just at Caulfield Station in peak hour. Driving to Caulfield Station in peak hour, and I stopped at the supermarket there, where I got the Vegemite Blend 17. Going through that, driving through Caulfield Station and to the Coles supermarket and home peak hour, that was enough to make me want to wipe the stain of humanity from the earth. It was so fucking stressful. I was in such a shitty mood by the end of it. Just from bad traffic, being stuck at a level crossing for a fucking hour, and that's a mild exaggeration, but it was 10 minutes. It felt longer. People being fuckheads in the car park. And even the weirdest fucking thing happened, right? There's this shopping centre, shopping mall where I'm going, it's got rooftop parking. I park on the top, and I'm going down this ramp down to the shops, and this fucking idiot was running up the ramp, but with his head down, like he's running fucking Naruto style or something. He's running with his head down, running full speed, and not looking at all. And he ran straight into me. But I sort of saw him coming, and so I actually smacked into him because he's a fucking idiot. And sorry, and I was just like, look up, you motherfucker! What the fuck are you doing? Who fucking does that? I've never seen anything like that before. It was so fucking stupid. It was absolutely moronic. So yeah, it was just little things like that. That was enough to make me want to wipe the stain of humanity from the face of the planet. Bloody hell. Yeah, Joe, it is the paradox. Why do we call the peak hour rush hour when it's so slow? Well, Tendo, I didn't quite WWE store, but it's an old trick I learned from my days of playing Aussie rules. You drop your shoulder and fuck, it's like, but it made me disproportionately angry. Should go to a synagogue and worship Aussie. Celtic King, if you want to worship Aussie, the correct thing is to sacrifice a black goat under a full moon. I'm not even joking. So he could explain. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much of it is actually secret. So I'm not sure how much he would explain. But the worst problem in Brisbane is tailgating. God, the worst problem in Melbourne is people being thick as shit. That's the thing. Driving, Melbourne and Sydney are the biggest, busiest cities in Australia, and driving in both is fraught. I lived in Sydney for 10 years. I've been in Melbourne for about 20 now. But the difference between Sydney drivers and Melbourne drivers, when you're driving in Sydney, Melbourne, and you have a near accident, you think someone's trying to kill you. In Sydney, to kill you. They're really fucking angry, and they've just decided they want to kill you. In Melbourne, really fucking stupid. If someone just sails through a give way sign in Melbourne, it's because they're thick as shit. And they go, well, probably no one wants to hit me, so it won't matter if I just go straight through here. If someone does that in Sydney, they're going, die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker. They actually want to kill. So that's the difference. If someone kills you in Sydney, they meant to. If someone kills you in Melbourne, they're just fucking stupid. Tendo, speeding at people on a pedestrian crossing. I had one when I was in Sydney, and it was this really narrow street. It was like a side street. There was like shops and then a street behind them, and the train station, and there was a pedestrian crossing. And I've heard a lot of people say when they cross into traffic, they deliberately don't look at the cars because, the cars have to stop because, oh, no, you're there. I go, no, you're underestimating. I always make eye contact with car drivers if I'm at all worried about not stopping, because if you make eye contact, they can't pretend they didn't see you. It's no, I see you, motherfucker. I see you. And they have to stop. And so I had this incident where walking across fairly narrow street, it was like a 40-kilometer-an-hour limit or something, and I was walking across the pedestrian crossing, and this guy came screaming down the road like he was going way too fast, and he's hooning down at me, and I was like, and I had already started crossing before he came down, but he was coming straight at me really fast, and so I made eye contact with him, and I was like, not today, motherfucker. And then at the last second, he hadn't even started to slow down. And I went, and this is bad. And I jumped back. And it's weird. And it was at that point that he realized what he was doing. And he slammed on the brakes and stopped. I was like, fuck. And then I walked, and the fuckhead couldn't just leave it at that. He said something like, "Oh, you're not supposed to cross when there's a car coming," mate. And I just lost it. And I was just screaming in his window, "The fuck are you talking about? This is a pedestrian fucking crossing, motherfucker!" And I was going to the fucking speed limit is 40 and you were doing about 80. You motherfucker. And I just lost it and screamed at the guy. It's like, I was going to let it go because he was such, but then he's trying to make it my fault because I was crossing at a pedestrian crossing when he was driving at twice the fucking speed limit. I was just, oh my God, I just lost it. Oh, Belinda, did you get victimized for having Victorian plates in Brisbane? Like that happens a bit with cops. If they see your out of state plates, they can really hassle you. Alexander, you don't like hook turns? My partner, who's lived here in Melbourne for 20 years, like me, she will completely change her route through the city so she doesn't have to do hook turns. Like she'll go around a block rather than have to do a hook turn. She hates them so much. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, Belinda, drivers in Brisbane hassled you. Yeah, I don't know. Brisbane can be a bit weird. I've got family up there. It's just like a big country town, basically. And they can get very, very parochial. Sally, I look like a lefty. Up the bigots in a hijab. I don't know. I think with the right, sort of material and patterns, I could potentially look quite nice in a hijab. So, oh, cutting you off. Okay. Yeah, no, Belinda. Yeah, Queensland people can be a bit weird. It's a little while since I've been up there, but yeah, they can be. I got like, okay, because I just have hair like this, right? Just spiked hair, nothing very outrageous. But I remember this was years ago. I was quite young at the time, walking down the street in Brisbane, and two coppers were walking towards me, and they were fucking huge, like, I don't know, 6'4" or something. The pair of them are absolutely huge, and they're walking towards it. And they were I got the impression they were pointing at me and laughing. And I thought, no, I don't look that unusual. I'm being paranoid. That's not at me. They're just telling some joke to each other. And then when they got up to me, one of them is before saying, "Oh, love the haircut, mate." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." Fuck. What? Because Queensland cops have the worst reputation for being corrupt and violent, and so, and then, I'm only 5'8", and these guys are like 6'4" or bigger, and drawing their attention was really off-putting. What was it, Dottie? A co-worker of yours was on the roadworks sign. Someone driving him for a joke. Oh yes, yeah. You can't do jokes in cars. It's too fucking dangerous. Things can go wrong so easily. Oh yeah, Batman. The corrupt and violent reputation of the Queensland Police. It wasn't a stereotype. It wasn't an urban legend. They were corrupt and they were violent, and they abused their power horrifically. Yeah, Natalie, I don't know. Why do people move to Brisbane? For the weather, maybe? I don't know. David, look, I like Tassie as a spot for a holiday. I did a little driving holiday with Mrs. Angry a few years ago, and I quite liked Tassie as a holiday spot. I think it's too quiet for me to live there, though. Oh yes, then I want Elon Musk to give us self-driving tech. That's going to be interesting. I saw an article today, about, oh no, hackers are going to be the real risk with self-driving cars. People have come up with all these things like, oh, what are the risks going to be self-driving cars? Whenever you see those articles about people saying, oh, what if your car decided to kill you, like it did a risk evaluation, if it braked for these civilians save 3 lives, but it could steer you into a pole, so you die to save 3 lives. They'll never do that. The cars will never do that. It's a false proposition. But yeah, this article was saying hackers would be the real issue. Sorry, Kilty, I haven't been replying to you. You'd been asking what AIDS's religion is. I don't know what the name of it is. I'll have to ask him. I don't know if he wants, like I said, I don't know how much of it's secret. I don't know how much of it's thing, you know, but they dress in black and chant a lot and do magic. So, you know, yeah. Where would I live if I could live anywhere? I don't know. I like it here. Long term, in terms of a country, I don't want to live anywhere apart from Australia. I just think we've got a balance. Like, you can point in virtually any country, you can point to some things that are better than Australia, and I would agree. I'd say, yeah, I miss that we don't have that, or I think it's a good thing that we don't have. But in terms of the whole package, there's nowhere else I want to live, basically. Oh yeah, Joe, you're saying one of the Tesla self-driving cars did kill its driver? One. And I was like, but one self-driving car killed its driver. And in the meantime, tens of thousands of human-driven cars killed people. But there's some conjecture. I mean, Tesla still say, I think, that was driver error, that he wasn't using the controls properly. But even if it was completely the car's fault, if it was a shortcoming in the system, that it accelerated when it should have braked and all those things, still obsessing over one fatality in the face of tens of thousands of fatalities elsewhere, it doesn't make sense to me. But talking about what would be the real issues with self-driving cars, hackers will be on, because the first thing that's going to be self-driving are trucks, and that will be interesting because an enormous number of people are employed as truck drivers. What happens then when the trucks self-drive, and what happens to the infrastructure that supports them, the petrol stations, the hotels and whatnot? You know, what happens to them? It could have a really effect on the economy. But because what's the one thing self-driving vehicles have to do? They have to stop if there's an obstacle in front of them. They can't go around it. So if self-driving trucks were out there with no human in them, they'd get hijacked all the time. Because all you'd have to do is on a country road, just, you know, get a couple of vehicles and block the truck and make it stop, and then there's no one to stop you from ripping off the truck. Even if they spent extra money on making the truck more secure, you're in the middle of nowhere. You still got all the time to break into the truck. So I think there'd be a job. It'd be a very low-paid job because you wouldn't have to do much. But that you'd be, instead of being a driver, you would be like a guard. You would sleep in the truck. The truck would just tool on its merry way, and there'd be a person in it, so that hijacking the truck would be a less appealing option. First, there'd be a person there to raise the alarm, and second, they could take over manual control and steer around the obstacle or whatever. And it's still not impossible to hijack the truck, obviously, but it's hard. So I think there'd be an easy, low-paying job of just sleeping in the truck. That, Joe, I like that idea. Being able to hitch a ride on a truck, like freight hopping, like just have your non-powered vehicle and hook onto the back bumper of the truck and get pulled along by it. That's another good one. I like that. But yeah, if you want an interesting speculative look at self-driving cars, do a Google search. There's a writer called Cory Doctorow. I'll just spell his name. Self-driving car story. Do a Google search on what I just typed there. Cory Doctorow, self-driving car short. Sorry, mister. So do a Google search on Cory Doctorow's self-driving car short story, and it's fiction that he's imagining what might the near future with self-driving cars look like. And it's a great read, because this article I saw today made me think of it, because they said, ooh, hackers would be a big risk. And they would be. And that's one of the things he addresses in the story. But it isn't just hackers who would be the problem. Governments would be a problem. Because if the car or truck is a closed system, self-driving, you know the government's going to insist on a back door into the truck. Like, okay, we've all been suitably horrified by the various terrorist attacks around the world that have used vehicles to run people down. Now, if you're in law enforcement, you go, great, self-driving vehicles, but they can be hijacked, but I want a kill switch. Like, as a cop, I should have a kill switch that I just go and shut the car down and it stops. That would be great. And of course, cops can make a completely compelling argument for that. Like, oh, no more car chases, right? You just go, oh, it's that car there, stop it. And but when you give the government or law enforcement into a back door of what runs the vehicle, that is then going to be exploited by hackers. So the government, anything the government says they're doing for your safety, very easily turn against you. Like, of course, okay, you'd argue you couldn't speed in self-driving cars. Like, a speed limiter would be built into them. But who wants a car that they have no control over, right? The idea that you can't tell your car how fast to go. And also, if you're running a self-driving car going off GPS, if the government just decides nobody is allowed to be here, they just override GPS in the cars and steer all cars away from the place they want to go. Anything like that, which government and law enforcement would make really compelling cases for, would definitely be exploited by hackers. So it's not so much that the cars would be susceptible to hackers, but it's the government would force the cars to be susceptible to hackers. And yeah, no, Sally, you joke saying you can't have a self-driving car without being RFID chipped. I wouldn't be surprised if they would force you to have something that identifies who's in the car, who's in control of the car. But I think self-driving cars, conceptually, are friggin' awesome. Can you imagine? Like, there'd be like there was a mention in there that Uber drivers and taxi drivers would be out of business, and yeah, they would. I wouldn't lose a lot of sleep over that. But not only that, it'd get to the point relatively quickly where owning your own car wouldn't make any sense. Again, you think of a fleet of self-driving cars that they're solar powered or they plug into the electricity grid. Instead of having to be parked anywhere, they could always be moving in a really controlled way, and you'd have the app and go, I want to get picked up and go here, and a vacant one would just come to you. Ooh, it'd never be more than a couple minutes away, and so you just go. There'd be no traffic jams because there'd be algorithms to control where all the cars went. You wouldn't have all the space in the city tied up with parking, because the vehicles don't have to park. They can just keep moving and come and pick up and drop people off you. It's like, fuck, it would be amazing. But there's an enormous amount of problems to be worked out. But conceptually, self-driving cars are an incredible thing. Like, for the environment, potentially for the economy. I agree with you, Natalie. If we had something like universal basic income, we wouldn't have to worry about automation getting rid of crappy jobs. Oh God, Toby, you're going to talk to the Mormon missionaries to try and get this. Ooh, that's interesting. I just got a text from Telstra. Must be using a lot of my bandwidth. Used 50% of my, I've got 15 days left. Ooh, I'm right on the line there, 50-50. Yes. Oh, Book of Mormon, that'd be interesting. Yeah, but I mean, each level of automation does put people out of work. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, taxi drivers, but this, when I was reading about what is likely to happen with automated vehicles and how freight trucks will be the first thing that's automated. They'll be automated before passenger cars are. But in America, in the majority of states, the most common job is truck driver, and that's a huge number of people getting over. I do usually use Wi-Fi. It's actually weird you saying that. I just noticed I'm not on Wi-Fi. Why was I not on Wi-Fi? It was really weird. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Dottie. I'm just talking off the top of my head with the no parking thing, but in cities particularly, I don't think you need parking. Again, better cars like electric cars, especially if you get solar cells built into the roof. In terms of parking, it'd probably only be like charging stations. Like the cars would go in cycles, and they'd be going round and round for a couple of hours, and then they'd park in a charging station for a couple of hours, and other ones would be going round and round. Obviously, I'm literally just making that shit up, but I think I think the cars constantly move. But could you imagine how much space would open up with no parking? Like half of the streets in the city is taken up with parking. A lot of buildings, about a quarter of the building is parking, and all that space is suddenly freed up. It's it's just amazing. Dottie, that's a good one. The car parks that stacks the cars on racks, yeah, and they just be going on an endless cycle, like cars going like, oh, I'm running out of charge, I'll go in and go on the next rack, and it goes around. The cars are charging while they go around, and then when one gets all the way around, it just drives out and starts picking up more people. But I think you would save so much money, and there'd be no congestion on the roads because the vehicles would just be that much more efficient. I mean, most of the problems on the roads are caused by people being fuckwits. And if the vehicles are following set rules and not being fuckwits, traffic would just flow so much easier. It would be so much better. But so yes, that's my utopian view of the future. Trying to see things positively, and maybe Yellowstone will blow up. And Sally, you missed Delhi traffic. I had a gig a few years ago doing commentary for I think it was on some American network where you do commentary on viral videos of the day, and one of the ones I did this video of Delhi traffic, and it's like stuff going everywhere and people stopping and giving way, and this one guy just flies right through the intersection, just barely misses everyone, goes through at this ridiculous speed and just barely misses everyone and goes through the traffic, and asked to comment on that, and I went, that guy's such a shit driver. I could have easily hit 6 or 7 people in there. What was he doing? It's just like, yeah. Do I think in an automated vehicle society, roadkill cleanup jobs will skyrocket? And what is the other thing that I grew up in the country where I see a lot of roadkill. The automated cars would be less likely to hit animals and whatnot because they'd be better at sensing them. Hi, Lucy. You've joined just in time for me to say goodbye because it's 10 o'clock now. and I'm going to go to bed. Had a really good time tonight. Nice, happening, vibrant chat. Thank you all for dropping by. I will, of course, be back. And yes, thank you all for joining in and making it a lot of fun, talking about all our various topics we talked about tonight. I will be back. So thanks for stopping in, everyone. You give me the old thumbs up on the way out. We'll try and convince the Google algorithm that I'm super popular. And I do hope you all get back another time. I will be back myself, and I'll sign off and say bye for now.